All right, welcome guys to Dirty Dad's podcast, to the segment of news nobody's talking about. So what we're going to go into today is kind of some old news into some new daunting news that's going to happen in October. And what we're going to talk about is the COLA adjustment and inflation. So we're kind of getting boned here. So kind of what I wanted to talk about and start off with is something we kind of heard back in April. And the M2 was no longer being reported by the Fed. And we were like, what is going on? What are we talking about? All right. And the Fed shutting down the money supply data. So what it was is that the Fed used to report how much money was actually in circulation, how much money was being printed and lended out. And I mean, think about it. M2 money supply was up 30% in the past year, and people were getting scared. They were buying precious metals, and we saw gold hit a record high and all this other craziness because people realized then that, oh my God, our money is worth absolutely nothing. And people realized that, hyperinflation is going to happen if we just print it 30% in a year. So you guys totally understand, especially the viewers out there from some of the comments from the last video, are kind of hip to what is really going on in the world. Is we're kind of inflating away our debts, and the reality is kicking in, unfortunately. So let's get into it. So what is the CPI? So the government has kind of put it in this basket because I truly didn't know. Growing up, I didn't know, and they changed the CPI to fit kind of what it is to base it on. So the government has certain amounts of debt that they tax the coal on. So military pay, Social Security, things that are obligated that have a tax inherited into them called a COLA. All right. And it says every year, in accordance to these things and price rising based on them, that we have to make an adjustment to it and pay raises based on that. So it doesn't mean the civilian sector does it, but we have obligations that need to rise based on this. So let's go into this because it's kind of crazy because we all notice that prices are rising throughout all different sectors, okay? So based on the CPI bracket, and this is how they're weighed. So housing, we all know, went through the freaking roof. 23% of that is housing, okay? We're talking housing on average went up. Dude, we're talking houses that were $150,000 before are now upwards in the 200,000s. We're talking 30% increases. I mean, we're talking 15% on average all around. All right, 15%. All right, food and non-alcoholic beverages, 13%. You know what's funny? That weight there is 16%. You know how they circumvented that? Is if you go look at your Monster cans, now they're smaller. Now food items cost the same, but they're a smaller amount. And I have a feeling that they're not going to weigh that in, that they're just going to be like, oh, you know what? It's the same price, guys. It's not the same value. So we're going to get boned on that deal. We already know that. All right, recreation and culture, prices went up everywhere. So I don't know how we're going to get screwed in that. Probably. Transportation. Okay, prices went up. I don't ride a bus. I haven't rode a bus in years, but I guarantee you transportation went up. Just to go buy a vehicle, I mean, that's astronomical now. And used vehicles, even brand new vehicles, are through the roof. So I don't know how they're gonna bone us on that, but they'll surely find a way. Furniture, household equipment, and services, they're through the roof. Any kind of construction, anything like that. As far as services go, are absolutely through the roof. So I would love to see how they somehow bonus on that, but they'll find a way. Alcohol and tobacco, they're absolutely through the roof. So we'll see how that goes. Health, well, maybe, maybe because the government's paying for most of all this stuff going on currently, maybe that's how they'll get that number down. And that's only 6%. Insurance and financial services, maybe. I don't know. That's only 6%. Education's only 4%. Clothing and footwear, that's that's kind of in a deflationary, I guess. And communication, that's pretty high. I mean, I don't see cell phones getting any cheaper. That's pretty high too. But if you're looking just in a housing market and from a food sector, I see us screwing us in the food sector here. Okay, but just from a standpoint between transportation, recreation, and housing, there's no way. Okay, we're looking at least a 15% increase in housing. All right, if they want to average it low, and honestly, that's super low because we're looking at 30%. There's no way. That's hard. That is super hard to say it's under 30%. I'm looking at Zillow and Realtor.com and all these other places, and I just look at the tax portion. That's what I do is I go under there and I look at the tax evaluation and what they were taxed at before. And then I look at what they were bought at and I look at what they're selling at. And I kind of take an average there. And you're looking at somebody that bought a house years ago at the height of their market at somewhere around 150, and now they're selling it for 250. You know, it's absolutely, they're making $100,000 profit, and you're telling me that inflation is only, you know, it's only 13, 14, 15%. Absolutely absurd. There's no way. I'm sorry, but your numbers are absolutely off here. All right, so this is how they bracket and weigh the CPI on inflation and how that works. Now, this is what they're estimating. Now, this is a, kind of a website, an article here based on 2022, what they're going to raise. Now, in October, that's where the new fiscal year comes in, and that's where, kind of, if anybody knows that we haven't reissued kind of our debt clock. So we're actually on a deficit right now. We haven't done anything else, so we're actually running out of money. And if we don't do this, the government shuts down. So that's actually coming. So what I think is funny is all our politicians, they're out there on vacation having a great time on this holiday weekend. And what is it? They come back for 3 days and then they go back on vacation when the government technically, we have barely enough money just to get us through. So this October deadline is kind of when the new inflation, the COLA sets in. They need to set it. So what they're talking about here is based just on July, is what they're going to say is that the increase just on Social Security is going to be 6.2% next year based on July CPI index. August 11th, labor statistics and stuff like that. I mean, this is absolutely absurd. Now, the highest on record that they have is back in 1983. It was 7.4. Is the highest that we had. Now, I think that's low, personally. From the prices, you guys tell me what you think down in the comments. I think we're getting boned here. I truly do. Now, hear me out on my argument, okay? I may be wrong, and if I'm wrong, please correct me. Now, I'm just following the dots. Nobody's talking about this right now. They probably will in October, just like this money last week's thing we did. Everybody started talking about this nonsense after we talked about it here on this channel. But right here, right? We're talking about housing prices, food getting smaller, less portions, everything else. We're talking about car prices jumping. Ridiculous. I bought a car years ago, and it's worth, we're talking, I gained 20% on my vehicle. 20% I gained on my vehicle that I bought 3 years ago. That's what I can go trade it in to a dealership and get them to pay me 20% on my used vehicle right now. Now, I know the dealer needs to make money. So you're telling me on my truck that I can go to a dealer right now and I can make 20% off a dealer, and then he's going to go make probably another at least 10%, or God only knows what he's going to make. You're telling me that you're only going to say that coal is only a 6.2%? That doesn't make sense to me. And then houses just in my area jumped 23%. Now, that's low because I live out in a rural area, but that's 23%. So something's not right here. Okay? The American people are getting boned. Okay? In the last couple years, you printed over what? 30% was that? Let's just look. 30% in the past year. All right, and this was April You printed 30% more money, the debt, 30% than we've ever had. Okay? Yet mysteriously, you're saying only 6.2%. That doesn't add up. That doesn't add up. And I understand it takes time to trickle that money into the system. But how is it that housing has jumped because you lowered the interest rates and you've done all these different things that have made it harder for American people to do these things? Yet, you know what it hurts? And it truly bothers me. It hurts the people that do the right things. It hurts the people that watch, that save their money, that have played the system, that did everything that we were told. Hey, listen, you need to save your money, you need to save 10%, or you need to invest, you need to diversify, you need to do a 401k, you need to take care of your family, you need to work hard and do all these different things. We're getting boned. We're actually getting boned. I mean, think about, okay, what they're saying, according to this right now, 6.2%. Let's just say they give us 6.2%. In our savings account, did we get 6.2% in our savings accounts? No, absolutely not. We didn't get any of that in our savings accounts. So that means we lost that money in our savings accounts due to inflation. Because what? Because we did the right thing? This is absolutely absurd, guys. They're wasting us. And where do we possibly put money to actually save it? Into the stock market? We're getting screwed here. They're printing money, and I get helping people. I truly do. Listen, there's a lot of people out there. I think the government should never shut everything down, which I think is horrible. To shut down privately owned companies and mom and pop stores and everything like that, and to take away how somebody makes a living is absolutely absurd. And you just hurt tons and tons of people, and now you're trying to make amends for it by printing money and hurting millions and millions of more people. And now you have this absolute crap show. And now you think you can just print away and now hurting millions and millions of more people? And who's making money from this? That's what I want to know. And if you guys have any comments about this, or who do you think is making money from this, please leave them down in the comments. I love the comments. Even if you think I'm absolutely wrong, you think I'm crazy, you think I'm jacked up, you think I'm out of my mind on this subject, let me know, because I will respond. I love to hear them, even if you think I'm absolutely wrong. I love the debate about it, but I can't see. I've been following this ever since last year when they said they weren't going to, tell us how much money they were printing anymore, because I was like, oh, here we go. They're just going to do whatever they want now, and we're going to get shafted when it comes to this time. And now when I see this number here, this 6.2, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But you know what? They're going to enjoy their vacation while we're over here getting shafted once again as the Americans. But you know what? We voted for these people. You get what you vote for. Sad but true. But I wish everybody, happy holidays. Stay safe out there. And I pray that I'm wrong. I truly do. I pray I'm wrong. And I pray the people that we voted for do us right and do us justice, and this number in October is higher, because that's what it needs to be. It needs to be higher, unfortunately. But like this graph here, unfortunately, I think I'm going to be right. But let's see what you guys think. Till next time, this is your news that nobody's talking about. Dirty out.